This was Harry and Meghan's visit to Australia in 2018.
It was a hug from Harry that brought a woman to tears. India Brown had been waiting patiently since 4 a.m.
Just to see them will be amazing, but if I'm lucky enough to hug Prince Harry, would just be phenomenal.
98-year-old Daphne Dunn has been waiting in the crowd to meet Prince Harry since 5 a.m.
It's so nice to meet you.
98-year-old Daphne Dunn struck up a friendship with Prince Harry in 2015.
The only ones in love, people fawned over the gorgeous couple at every stop they made.
And this was Harry and Meghan's visit to Australia just a few days ago in 2026.
The Duke and Duchess of Sussex have been accused of treating their upcoming trip to Australia like an ATM. That's a cash machine.
Prince Harry and Meghan Markle were met with almost no crowd, as people showed zero interest during their Australia visit.
Can I be honest and tell you I really don't think about them at all?
I don't know why they're coming.
I think it's probably really nice for them to not have to do all the royal stuff, but yeah, I guess that also means that they're not as sort of relevant, I guess, here.
Meghan, or just call me Meg, and her spare handbag Harry have finally left Australia after a whirlwind circus.
Australia was supposed to be Meghan's biggest comeback, the country that loved them the most, the reset button. Instead, Harry came home embarrassed. His own speech tickets were slashed in half before he even landed because they couldn't even fill the spots. Only 47 people showed up for Meghan's $3,200 retreat. And while all of this was falling apart publicly, Harry was being completely sidelined by his own wife, who seemed far more interested in another man than the one she married. Let's go back to 2018, because if you want to understand just how devastating this trip was, you need to remember what it felt like before. Harry and Meghan landed in Australia fresh off their fairy tale wedding, and Sydney completely showered them with love. We're talking 76 official engagements over 16 days, packed streets everywhere they went. People waited from 4 a.m. just to be near them. And then there was the pregnancy announcement. Harry and Meghan told Australia first, before the rest of the world. And Australians felt honored. That's the word people used, honored. That a royal couple trusted them enough to share something so personal. Harry himself told Oprah years later that Australia was effortless, that watching people connect with Meghan was one of the most beautiful things he'd ever witnessed. But things changed constantly after that. First, they left the royal family in 2020. Fine, people understood. Then came the Oprah interview, the Netflix documentary, the book, the podcast. Every single institution that ever supported them, the monarchy, the BBC, Netflix, Spotify, picked up and quietly backed away, one by one. And that's where Meghan's true mask started slipping off. People started to see her for what she truly is.
She can nail every Spotify deal, WME representation she wants. It's never going to fulfill the hole that's inside of her because there's something wrong with this woman. She dumped her family. Her dad is dying. She won't speak to him. She's ruined another family. It happens to be the royal one. And now they're going to have to sit with the consequences of their own behavior, which is misery.
In 2018, while Australians were camping overnight just to catch a glimpse of her, and a 98-year-old woman was standing in the crowd since 5 a.m., Meghan was backstage, apparently asking why these people were even there. Thousands of fans were outside the Sydney Opera House, and her reaction was essentially, "What's all this about?" But that wasn't even the worst part.
That when Harry toured an upgraded war memorial on that trip, there were rumours that she had asked if she would be getting an appearance fee.
There were reports that during the 2018 tour, while this free publicity and this global adoration were handed to her on an absolute silver plate, Meghan was asking whether she'd be getting paid. Are you kidding me, Meghan? Paid? For a royal tour that you signed up for while wearing the crown jewels?
So a veteran's wife asking for an appearance fee to tour a war memorial? Go figure, seriously.
So let me ask you something. If Australia was so wonderful, so effortless, so beautiful, why was she asking for an appearance fee at a war memorial? Because that detail tells you everything about who Meghan Markle actually is, underneath the Duchess's smile. She didn't come back to Australia in 2026 because she missed it. She came back because she finally figured out how to get paid. And the Aussies, they understood it. They saw right through her.
Now, they are not working royals. They are not here on the royal agenda. They are here because they are so desperate and deluded and need the money because, of course, Meghan didn't sell enough jam. Harry's now being sued for defamation by the charity he co-founded. And let's be honest, everything and anything that they have touched has been a complete and utter failure. We don't want you here, Meghan, and we don't want you here, Harry.
So when they returned to Australia in 2026, they didn't come as working royals. No official title, no royal backing, no palace agenda, no charitable programs. They just flew in business class from their Montecito mansion as two private celebrities who needed a payday.
They are using us as a cash machine. This is just a cash grab. They want to bring whatever it is that they bring. And look at it, they are no longer royal adjacent. They are not qualified psychologists. And as far as we can see, they aren't even the philanthropists they attest to be, because we haven't seen any donations. Part of this visit is going to visit a children's hospital and a homeless charity. Well, where are their credentials to do that? They are no longer working royals. So we're having a real difficulty down here, and we feel like we're being played because, of course, we loved them back in 2018 when they first came down here. Meghan was pregnant. We could not have celebrated them more. Now we feel completely differently.
The whole point of this trip was to look like royals, because the world has already rejected Harry and Meghan as reality stars and podcasters. All the aesthetics of royalty, none of the mandate, none of the official backing, and absolutely none of the genuine public goodwill that comes with actually serving. They left the firm, but they couldn't leave the brand, because without the brand, there's nothing to sell. And sell is exactly what they came to do.
And you know, they're here to make money, aren't they? Though they say they're not. But they raked it in anyway, because Prince Harry and Meghan are set to have made a whopping $10 million from this trip.
$10 million. That's what they made out of this trip. And I want to show you exactly where that money came from, because this is where it gets genuinely disgusting. Let's start with the fake charity visits. Hospitals, homeless shelters, a terror attack memorial. All very moving, all very photographed. But here's what was happening behind the scenes. Meghan visited Macaulay Community Services, a shelter for women escaping domestic violence. She smiled for the cameras. She served lunch. She looked compassionate. And while those pictures were still going viral, she was uploading the exact same outfit she'd worn inside that shelter onto a platform called One-Off, a clothing platform she personally invested in. A platform that pays her 10 to 25% commission on every single sale she drives.
She has gone into a homeless shelter minutes after doing that, like actually sincerely speaking to people who don't have a home to live in. Yeah. She is then putting up content showing her in a $1,500 jacket, you know, a similarly priced skirt in suede. I mean, like honestly, and what she can get from this is 10 to 25% of the sale of each item. Now, she says that she's showcasing little known brands and bringing attention to fashion designers and that sort of thing, but this is entirely commercial operation.
A $1,500 jacket, a suede skirt, sold off the back of a visit to homeless women. I genuinely don't have words for that. And here's the part that should make your blood boil. When Harry and Meghan left the royal family in 2020, the late Queen had one condition. One, no using the royal titles for commercial gain. That was the deal. That was the line. Meghan used her Duchess title as the entire selling point for every single appearance on this trip.
Two things happening here is that they are front-ending it with all the good works and that sort of thing, you know, all the nice hospitals, the homeless charities, the veterans, and then there's the commercial sting at the end. Or actually what Meghan's done is gone straight from homeless charity to uploading her clothes for sale, and she's getting commissions from this new platform, this AI platform, One-Off, where she is an investor. So she's getting 10 to 25% of every sale that she makes through those clothing.
She's almost found a way to monetize the homeless situation.
Absolutely, and that's the criticism, particularly back in the UK, because this is what the late Queen didn't want. She didn't want the Sussexes to have a 1 foot in, 1 foot out policy.
But wait, it gets worse. Because not only was Meghan using Australia to fill her own pockets, she was making Australians pay for the privilege of hosting her while she did it. This trip was declared privately funded. And yet, Australian police ran full security operations throughout the entire visit. taxpayer-funded, in a country that is currently in the middle of a cost of living crisis.
Now, they are not working royals. They are not here on the royal agenda. They are here because they are so desperate and deluded and need the money because, of course, Meghan didn't sell enough jam. Harry's now being sued for defamation by the charity he co-founded. And let's be honest, everything and anything that they have touched has been a complete and utter failure. So why do we have to pay for their security?
Over 47,000 people signed a petition demanding Harry and Meghan cover their own costs. 47,000 people said, if this is your private business trip, you pay for it. She flew in, used the country as a backdrop, let the taxpayers cover her security, and called it philanthropy. Now, let's talk about the main event. The thing Meghan built this entire trip around, the Her Best Life retreat. $3,200 a ticket. A luxury weekend in Sydney. Yoga, sound healing, cocktails, and an intimate conversation with the Duchess of Sussex herself. Sounds amazing, right? Except 72 hours before the doors opened, they were still pushing last-minute spots. The day before, still pushing. Because here's the thing about a sold-out event. It doesn't need last-minute availability posts. But fine, some women did show up. They flew in, checked into the hotel, dressed up, went through metal detector security at the door because Meghan personally demanded no phones and no recording inside. And then Meghan arrived at 5 p.m. And at 7 p.m., she was gone. Or so we thought, because women who actually attended have now confirmed. It wasn't even 2 hours, it was 30 minutes.
The main event here at the Intercontinental in Coogee Beach for a women's wellness retreat, but Meghan was only here for around half an hour.
30 minutes. Meghan charged these women $3,200 and couldn't even give them a full evening. And here's the part that gets me. Harry was actually made to attend this retreat, a women's wellness retreat about yoga and feelings and sound healing. Why? Because Meghan needed a draw. The seats weren't filling, the buzz wasn't there, so she brought Harry along as a live attraction. Basically, a human distraction so that the women who did show up wouldn't immediately start asking for their money back. So let's just say it out loud. From prince to not a prince, to his wife using his name to sell $3,200 tickets to a retreat she attended for half an hour. Is this really what Harry's life has become? Look at him. He has absolutely no idea what he's doing there. This is a women's wellness retreat about yoga and feelings. And Harry is just wandering around like he got the wrong address. And then he just walks out, doesn't look back, doesn't even say goodbye to Meghan, who is still in the same room. That's not a man in a rush. That's a man who is done. And this moment kind of sums up everything about this trip for Harry. Because there was a time, not that long ago, when Harry was commanding close to $1 million for a single speech. That was his value. That was what his name, his story, his presence was worth. This Australia trip, he got paid $50,000 for his keynote. And even then, the tickets were being slashed in half before he even landed because they couldn't fill the room. And I want you to think about why that is. Because Harry didn't become less interesting as a person. Harry became less valuable because Meghan turned their story into a product and sold it so many times to so many platforms in so many interviews, documentaries, and books that nobody needs to pay to hear it anymore. Australia didn't just reject Meghan Markle. Australia held up a mirror, and what Harry saw in it, I think that's what's really breaking him. And Meghan, she flew home, posted her highlight reel on Instagram, and wrote, "Australia, you have our hearts." 47 people, babe. 47.